Hello, everyone. Welcome back to Rise with Raluca. We are back after a bit of a pause. I think it's been just over a year. So much has changed in that year, so much to catch you up on. I'll give you a brief review now, but maybe I'll do like a deeper dive into that in another episode because that's not what we're talking about today. So, the pause started shortly after I went on a retreat with my husband to Egypt. And after that, it felt like there was a catalyst for a lot of little changes and big changes that just added up. So in the past year, I took that pause. I left my in person practice. I left my homeopathic designation behind. I closed down our monthly community space, our online community space. So a lot of changes have happened, and we also traveled a lot. My business did a lot of shifting and changing, and I got pregnant. We're waiting for our first baby to come along. I'm 18 weeks pregnant at the time of recording this. So, yeah, a lot of changes throughout the year, a lot of letting go, a lot of shifts, a lot of just following like the intuition and the path with trust and seeing where it's leading me. And it's leading me to really beautiful places. So, gotta trust the journey. Today, what we are talking about is conscious conception. I think this is going to be a really important topic. This is going to be really valuable for a lot of people to listen to because I know it's feelings that a lot of women are feeling, questions that they're asking themselves and not exactly knowing how to put words to it or what they're feeling. You know, there's so much pressure from society and maybe outside of yourself of whether to have kids and when to have kids and what to do about that. So I'm going to talk about my journey today, about my journey of conception and deciding to have kids and what I did to prepare physically and emotionally and spiritually, as well as conception. So that's what we're diving into today. Hope everyone's been doing well this past year. I'm sure a lot of changes have happened for you as well. All right, so let's dive into it. Conscious conception. Conscious conception basically means to me when deciding to have kids consciously, that you do want to have kids, and maybe even when you are ready to have kids, and doing it with a bit of intention between you and your partner, talking about if that's something you both want, how you want to move forward, when you want to have kids, what you want your life to look like, all of those things, bringing that soul in consciously, because parenthood is a big deal. We are, it's life changing. Your life's never going to be the same afterwards. You basically have this other human you're responsible for, and this human that's going to be a part of your life for the rest of your life. So it's not something I take lightly, and it's not something we should take lightly. So first of all, it's important to decide whether or not you want to have kids. So I decided whether I wanted to have kids. This is something that I really sat with myself with, to really ask myself that question, if like whether or not I want to have kids. Because for a very long time, people just had kids because that's what you do, right? You get married, you get a house, you have a family, like you have kids, and that's just what you do. And people didn't put a lot of thought or intention behind that. They just kind of like went with the motions. And not everybody actually wanted to be a mother. Not everybody actually wanted to be a parent. And an example of that is if you saw the Martha Stewart documentary, she actually spoke about that motherhood. Just like she had kids, she had her daughter. I don't know if she had multiple kids, but she had her daughter because you just get married and you have kids and that's what you do. But she realized that motherhood was really not fulfilling for her. It's not really something that she was drawn to, and she really was just passionate about her business and she wanted to build that. Right? So we really got to think about if having kids is something that we actually want or not, if that's something that's important to us. So what I did, like I really thought about this question. I visualized what my life would be like with and without kids, and you know, like the opportunities that would come one way and the opportunities that would come the other, and like the freedom and everything. I thought about all of those things and just really sat with how it would feel. But deep down inside, I knew that I did want to have kids, but it was important for me to go through this process to really think about it. And I also know motherhood is an important part of my journey because of my astrological chart. Like I have my Cancer moon and Cancer rising. That's very nurturing roles. That's like the role, the divine feminine. It's nurturing, it's mothering. So based on that, I also knew that it would be an important part of my journey, but it doesn't have to be, right? Like even if you have Cancer, the Cancer in your astrological signs, that nurturing could be pointed towards something else. That nurturing and mothering and creation, that could be pointed towards something else if you don't want to have kids, right? It can be pointed towards your business, other creations. It doesn't just have to be motherhood. So that's something that I thought about, and I did, yeah. Then, like, I came to the conclusion that I did want to have kids, but I wasn't, like, there needed to be certain things in place for me to be ready for it. Also, my husband did know he wanted to be a parent, and he did know that he wanted to have kids before me. So he was sure of that. It took me a little while longer, so he had to be patient with me before I got to that point. And then the other aspect of it was life plans and expectations, right? Like I wanted to have kids, but I wanted to have kids in a certain way. Honestly, I wanted my business to be in a different place than it is now. I wanted my business to be more like successful and be able to run on its own, like in a different place than it is right now. And I had all these visions of like the income that would come in and the lifestyle we would have, and like what I would be able to do, the support I would be able to hire, all of those things. And honestly, my business is not in that place. I still believe I can get my business in that place. Maybe, not right this moment, but that it will happen even as baby comes along, that I will get to that place because my vision is so strong. This visual of where I want my business and how my lifestyle is so strong that it's gonna happen. It's meant for me. I just have to take the steps to get there. So I kind of had to surrender those life expectations. And my husband was actually like, like we're gonna figure it out as you go. You can have your plans, but you just kind of also go for it and figure it out as you go. And I really wanted to have like everything set in place first. I wanted to, that I wanted that particular lifestyle. But then I also started getting signs, and my soul and like my intuition were leading me towards this even before the business came into the place that I wanted it to be. And the other part that came for me before feeling ready to have kids is inner healing. Because anything that we do not heal, we pass on to our kids. So I had a lot of healing to do, and I'm still on the healing journey, obviously, like we all are for our lives, for the rest of our lives while we're here, because once you're done healing, you're basically done being here. Like once you're done learning your lessons and growing, like you're done with this life. So I had a lot of healing that I wanted to do before. I wanted to be in a strong mental, emotional place. I wanted to heal like patterns from my childhood, patterns from my lineage. And I did do a lot of that. I did a lot of self-reflection, a lot of shadow healing, a lot of learning how to communicate, how to like regulate my nervous system, how to be calm in the midst of chaos. Just a lot of healing that I wanted to do. So I think that's another important part to be aware of, that anything you're not healing in your dynamic with your partner, in your dynamic with your family, in your dynamic with yourself, and how you self-sabotage, or how you take care of yourself, how you talk to yourself, and how you talk to your body, all of those things you are modeling to your kids. And your kids pick up on your nervous system and what you do and how you're being and how you're talking to yourself and how you're talking to the people around you and what you're accepting for yourself. They learn from that more so than from what you tell them to do, right? They learn from who you are. They regulate to your nervous system. So you have to be in a strong, calm, patient, healed place, right? So none of us are perfect. Obviously, we're not going to be 100% healed, but it's good to be aware of these things and do as much healing as possible before we have kids, because we are passing these things on to them. And obviously, we're going to keep healing as we do have kids, and kids are the biggest mirrors. Our kids and our relationships are our biggest mirrors that will show us exactly what we need to address. But I did want to be in a strong place before having kids. I wanted to feel ready. I wanted to feel strong. I wanted to feel self-assured. And I am more so now than I ever have been before. So I feel good about that. And I'm ready for the journey. And I'm sure it's going to surprise me in all kinds of ways. And it's going to mirror all kinds of things to me. But at least now I have so many tools and so much awareness that I can move forward with, that I can move through whatever challenges come through. I also have a beautiful relationship, a supportive relationship that we can talk things through, support each other through this journey, right? And that was work also to get to this place, to get myself to a place where I'm able to communicate, to ask for help, to receive help, all of those things. So that was an important thing for me. And I think it is an important thing to do as you're getting yourself ready to have kids, as you're getting yourself to that place. Then the other thing that came through, right? So I spoke about how it took me a while to be ready to have kids. And even in the year kind of leading up to conception, I didn't feel ready, but I started doing things like not subconscious. It's like my soul was guiding me to places, kind of being like, no pressure, we're just going to do this, but there's no expectations, right? Because I truly feel like it was time for me, but also my mind wasn't ready, my ego wasn't ready, because I wanted my life to be in a certain way. I wanted things to be lined up in a certain way. And also I was waiting for these other opportunities that I wanted to do first, which I'm not doing first at this point, but it doesn't mean I can't do them later now. So as I was mentally, trying to wrap my head around this, to having kids, it's like my intuition just slowly guided me to these things. So the first thing was I needed a new naturopath. So I actually went to a naturopath that was at this fertility clinic, like pregnancy, postpartum, baby carrying clinic. So it was geared towards mothers. And I'm like, well, I want to be a mother eventually, so it'll be good to just go here. So that was the first thing. I chose that naturopath, and that naturopath is wonderful and so intuitive. So if you're local to this area and you need a naturopath, I will totally, you can reach out and I'll recommend her. And I started actually at that point. We were supporting my body for what I needed support with in general, but also just started doing some preconception prep and prepping my body before pregnancy. So I actually went on prenatals at the beginning of the year, which I felt like, oh, maybe it's a little bit early, but she did say that she likes women to be on prenatals like even a year before conception, because you're replenishing your body with minerals and nutrients and what your body needs, so you're not like as drained during pregnancy, because that it takes a lot of energy. And I will say that this pregnancy, I felt great. I felt exhausted in my first trimester, which I will talk about in the next episode, but I didn't have any nausea or anything like that. So I really, and it did run like there was nausea in my family during pregnancy. So I do believe that preparing our bodies as much as possible helps us feel better during pregnancy and helps us have the nutrients that we need more readily available for ourselves and baby. So that was the first thing that I did. I went to that naturopath, started working on that, also started working on my hormones and just preparing myself that way. Just balancing hormones, because that's important for overall health. It doesn't have to be just when you want to get pregnant. Like, having your balanced hormones makes you feel better, more energetic, more consistent, less stressed, less all over the place, less PMSy. All of those things are important. The other thing that I did during this time that was kind of like leading me towards motherhood was I joined a mothers and maidens group in my community, which, again, if you're local, I can absolutely refer you to this community. So I joined this because it was open to mothers with like babies and little kids, as well as maidens that have like women that have not yet stepped through that motherhood portal, that maybe are thinking about having kids. So that was a great space to be in, to just connect with other women, to learn more, because I feel like we are so blind to what happens throughout this whole journey to motherhood, deciding to have kids, the pregnancy, postpartum, all of that. It's like you don't even hear about it until you're in it. And then when you're in it, it's like you don't have enough support and you're just figuring it out as you go, and you have so many questions. So it's really beautiful to have this community. And it was also really helpful to talk with other women about how they decided they were ready to have kids, and all the questions that were popping up in my mind, and like the timing, and just how everything was for them. Then, and throughout this whole time, the other thing I forgot to mention is that I have been feeling like spirit babies around me for years. Like, I felt their presence around, like being ready, far before I was. So I would say the first time I started feeling them was around 29 or 30, and I'm 33 at this point, right? So it took me a little while from feeling them to me actually being ready. And at the time that I felt baby first, I I wasn't strong enough to be the kind of mother that I know this baby would need, that I know these babies would need. So I'm just having one baby, but I did feel spirit babies. So I really just, I felt this presence. I knew spirit baby was ready, but I waited until I was also ready, because I also have to be ready. So that part is important too. We don't have to rush. I know a lot of people that are listening are also intuitive, and you might be feeling things. You don't have to rush just because you feel their presence. But you will get these like signs and things leading you to it as you're getting ready, to tell you kind of when it's time, right? Because this whole past year, I wasn't mentally ready, but I was doing things to get myself ready anyways, because that's where my energy was leading me to. And my energy was leading me to those places because it felt light, because that decision felt light and it felt right. I never was like, oh, I'm doing this, so then I will have to do that. It was just, this is where I'm going because it feels right, and let's see where it leads me. And then I had all these other like little signs, like taking pictures or videos, and like this little kid would be like running in and out of the frame. And even my friend was like, that's interesting symbolism, because I was talking to her about feeling spirit baby around, and not knowing if I'm ready and the timing of everything. So yeah. And as we got closer to the date, I also started feeling more pressure internally and externally. Like even internally, I was like, I feel stuck. I felt stuck, like nothing in my life was moving forward the way I wanted it to be. And like started feeling like, and I don't even have kids. Like this thought started coming over, like I feel like I'm behind all of a sudden when I never felt this before. I never ever had that feeling of feeling behind, of like there being a rush to have kids, because I know I take care of myself, because believe in divine timing and all of these things. I never felt a rush. I never felt like you need to be a certain age to have kids, anything like that, any kind of pressure like that, until like midway through last year. And I was like, midway through 2024, and I was like, oh my gosh, I started feeling low. I started questioning myself. But then also, I didn't want to have kids just from being in a low place. So I just kept moving forward with what I was doing. And then it started feeling like the time was coming closer. And then my husband and I both did some preconception prep. So it was just taking prenatals, and there's also supplements men can take. And I myself also did a candida cleanse before conception, because that can be also an important part of conception. A lot of us have candida overgrowth, and that can, like slow down conception. It's just good to get our bodies in as strong a physical place as possible. And then the other thing I noticed before conception was that my cycle started shifting. I have a very regular cycle, but it just shifted just by a little bit on its own. I didn't really do anything. I mean, I was doing some hormone balancing in general, but my cycle was already consistent. It was already like steady. So I noticed that the cycle shifted a little bit. It used to be aligned with the full moon, I think, and then it just shifted to be aligned with nothing. It was just what it wanted to be. And then we were getting ready to go on our trip to Italy in October. So this got us to fall. And it was funny, even my naturopath before, she was like, so are you gonna try in Italy? And I was like, I don't know, maybe. Um, and then I thought about it, like it is a good time to try when you're on vacation, if you do want to try to conceive, because you're kind of out of your routine, you're more relaxed, you're having fun, you're in like a flowy zone, you're in your feminine. You're not in so much like masculine rigidity. So those energies also matter in conception, right? Like when we get in this masculine rigidity, we're trying to do things perfectly. It's harder. Well, not necessarily, but it can be harder to be in that relaxed mode that will be good for conception, right? Because there is the physical part, but there's also the spiritual, energetic part. So the physical part is taking care of your physical body, getting your hormones all set up, making sure you're eating nutritious meals, supporting yourself with protein and fats and fiber and all of those things. But there's also that energetic part. Like, are you in your feminine? Are you in your feminine? Is your sacral center like lit up, or are you drained because you're trying to be in your masculine and you have like no energy in that center and you have no creativity and you're feeling like stuck? Those things matter as well. And are you spiritually ready for parenthood? So all of those things are important. So yeah, we went on this trip and we are both like, okay, let's start trying. And, it just happened that I guess my cycle shifted to be perfectly aligned to this trip and being there. So baby was actually conceived in Italy. And I feel like that's so perfect, because I do want to live in Italy for a bit. Like Italy is special to me, and my husband's from Italy, and I'm just always drawn to it. Like I want to be there longer. So, anyways, baby was conceived in Italy. It was first time trying, so it was just meant to be. Spirit baby was ready. We were ready spiritually, ready energetically. So yeah, that's how baby came through. And it's been a journey since then. It feels like I'll talk about the first trimester in a different episode, but baby has already moved life so much. And so baby is due to be born in July, which is a Cancer sign, like mid-July. But I'm feeling like all this Leo fiery energy. So I don't know if it'll be on time or if there's like just like some moon or a rising Leo or fiery sign in there, because I'm feeling a lot of fire. This baby's changing a lot of things in our life already, a lot of different changes. And I'm just excited for where this journey is leading me. And I'm already feeling the shift in what I want to do in my business, how I spend my time. I'm feeling the shift within myself. So this truly is a transformative energy, transformative time. And the other thing that I wanted to share is it took me a while to feel ready to have kids, because I am very aware of myself. I'm very in tune with myself and with my energy. I know like I know my limits. I know who I am. I know like what I like. I know my boundaries, and I know kids are going to change all that kids are going to change the limits, that kids are going to change boundaries. They're going to change everything. And I'm going to be so deeply aware of that. So it's like, oh my gosh, is this going to be too much as a person that feels like in tune and sensitive? But now moving through it, I don't have any fear about it. But at the time, like that was also something that, kind of kept me like waiting a little bit to actually feel ready. So that was my journey, our journey to, wanting to have kids and to conception. And it was all just divine timing and following the signs and a little bit of surrender, right? Because I do have a strong mind and I wanted things to be a certain way, but there was also the surrender to it's time. And like I'm ready, even if I don't feel like I'm ready. And I want to honor everybody's journey in conception and in having kids, because I know not everybody's journey is the same and not everybody's path is the same. So I wanted to honor your path and be patient and follow your signs and follow your guidance. And, you know, we all have different journeys in this. And I think it's important that more people share their journeys with what they went through, with what they're going through trying to conceive or deciding to have kids, even what that looks like, because I still feel like it's a silent topic, and a lot of people feel lonely in that journey. So it's important to just share your story wherever you are, and if you feel called to, because it helps so many other people in their journey. So I'm sending you love, and I have so many more episodes lined up, so many more things that I want to talk about. So we will be talking more about first trimester and second trimesters and this transformative journey of motherhood, because it is important for us to talk about it, for people to get different points of view on the experience, because everybody's experience in this journey is different. But from the people watching or listening, they will get messages that resonate with them and with their journey and what would help them. But I also have lots of episodes planned about just conscious awareness around life altogether, around the challenges of life, bringing conscious awareness around that, how to navigate these challenges with a higher standard of energy, being solution oriented rather than being stuck in victim mode. We're going to talk about relationships. We're going to talk about spiritual healing. Oh my gosh, I have so many notes, but I can't think of them off the top of my head. So you're just going to have to be surprised. All right. So thanks for tuning in, and we'll chat soon.